contact!
How deep can you plunge into the darkness?
Through the dark veil of space, time.
I wish we could have joined you sooner.
This is Warp Chatter!
Time is short. There is much to be done.
The wait ends now.
All right, we are back with the Warp Chatter podcast. This is the podcast dedicated to talking about the Horus Heresy Legion's digital card game, Horus Heresy lore, Warhammer 40,000, everything that encompasses. I am your host, Scuff D. This is a podcast by players for players, and to follow that note, we have more players on the podcast again today. So we're going to be talking about the Defenders of Caliban this episode with Duce Korhil.
Yes. Hello.
And Ignatus.
Hello, I'm here.
And obviously, the Crab co-host is here as always.
Howdy, folks.
All right. So we have 4 assembled. We've got 2 players who have not been on the podcast before. So as tradition decrees, and as one of the reasons for this podcast is knowing the other players out there in the community, let's find out who they are, give them a chance to talk about yourselves, introduce yourselves. We'll start with you, Duce.
Hello. I'm Duce, and I'm playing the trading card game pretty much from the beginning, actually, but I took in between very long breaks. And yeah, I'm into Warhammer pretty long already. I started with Warhammer Fantasy, I think. Was it called the one with the high elves?
The original was Warhammer. Fantasy.
Yeah, they got me in the universe, and after they abandoned it, I started with Warhammer 40k because fuck Age of Sigmar. And and then at some point I stumbled upon the card game when it was pretty new and started playing it.
Yeah, I could never get into Age of Sigmar.
No, it's just wannabe fantasy. Fuck you, Age of Sigmar. I want my high elves back.
I could never get into fantasy, and Age of Sigmar was just like too. It's like, well, I'm already playing 40k. Like, I appreciate the fact that they changed up the they went away from like the ranks, because that was a big thing with fantasy, was, you know, how you did your ranks and what row, how many rows you had, and how they moved. So then they went to the individual, you know, round bases. I appreciate that, but aesthetically, it's like, I don't know. I thought Warhammer Fantasy had a pretty, you know, identifiable look. It seemed to be working. I don't know why they shifted and went so radical.
Yeah, it was pretty sad because I started playing fantasy like I think 3 or 2 months before they abandoned fantasy.
Oh man,
that hurt me. That hurt my soul.
I would say it was abandoned and more murdered.
It really, they literally destroyed it.
Killed it. Yep. The world ended.
They murdered it and threw the dead corpse into, I don't know, the Black Sea or something like that.
Pretty much. Until Total Warhammers rolled around.
Right, but then they're like, you know what? People say that they like this thing. Let's go back and give it another shot.
Let's go dig it back up.
Well, how about you, Ignatus?
Well, I got in the Horus Heresy Legions when I needed something to play because my computer broke and I need something really, really, really easy to run. And I need something with a Warhammer. So I Googled something and stumbled upon one of the posts on the forum that was saying, hey, there's a card game about 30k. And I was like, I'm not a big fan of Heresy. I heard there's a lot of stuff happening there, but I didn't really care. But I installed the game, hopped in, and I got Maudrim in the first of my crates, and that was the love on the first sight.
Oh,
and here I am.
Pretty good to get.
Yeah.
It's pretty good to get at the beginning. I gotta give credit.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, if I did not get him in the beginning, I don't think I'll be there today, because he was a really good warlord back then. It was, I guess, Orphans of War just got released. There was no Miraz Kirin. So it was pretty good time to play the game, I guess. Place to start playing it.
Yeah.
There also was a Titan event, and I was fooled to think that all the events gonna be so original and different from the latter.
Yeah, tight events are really just out of left field compared to every other event we get.
They are.
We have the
Yeah.
events that let me mix legions, though. I love those events.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're pretty
like
cool.
when you could make some, yeah, that was a good one.
Hmm.
They appear sometimes. They're rare. Sometimes.
I think they've been realizing that some of those events are more enjoyable for folks. I think just in general too, as the hodgepodge battles begin to take place in the story as they progress the event story, I think we'll see a few more of those. I'm surprised we didn't get a Titan event this week. The new event just started on Friday. We're recording this about 2 days after that, but it was mined and slightly teased that we would have the Titan event upcoming. So I think next event we'll likely see another Titan event, and I think that'll actually be our first Titan event with a draft. Because the last Titan event we had, as somebody on the Discord has counted,
Facepalm.
was long before the draft mode was implemented. So that could be interesting.
It could be.
Well, as far as I remember, there was already decks you could choose, not just draft some cards, but there was decks with cards from
the
other
old
legions,
times.
as far as I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least in the Titan event, it was like that. You could support your Titan with, I guess, Iron Warriors were there, and maybe from the parts.
Sons of Horus
But
and Death Guard, I think, were three that I can recall. Yeah.
it was a long time ago, yeah.
It was.
There
It was
definitely
900 days.
something.
Man,
Pushing
time
3
flies
years.
by.
Oh, don't tell me.
Yeah.
How long do we have now? The draft system in events?
Over a year.
Oh man.
I
Yeah.
believe
A
it-
year. Oh, Jesus Lord!
Yeah, I believe it came out, I want to say February of last year, in 2021, and it's been over a year. And
Getting old.
hasn't changed. Unfortunately, I mean, the reroll system, I think, can be improved. Still, to this day, I still think that we should limit rerolls, or give a cap of like 3 free rerolls for newer players, but maybe
That's
one day
actually
they'll
like-
get to that.
At least a couple free rolls, at least until you hit, I don't know, level 25, level 50. That would be pretty good for the new players.
Yeah. And they're doing a lot of work lately to try to, give new
Try to
players.
make things up.
Yeah, give new players not just a leg up, but some something to be excited about. Like, hey, you keep getting all these rewards. I'm going to keep playing. It's hard when you're stealing or you hit a wall. You're like, well, I guess I can't play this if I don't have gems. Then you won't do it, and then you just get discouraged from other things too. So, and on that note, I mean, I know we're going to be talking about the Defenders of Caliban here, but have you guys experienced the mentor system at all? I know you're all above level 25, but do you have any trainees?
No, I don't. But from my
Oh, come on, Duce. You're first.
from what I've heard so far, I'm sometimes looking in the mentoring chat in the main court. People seem to enjoy it pretty much, especially the newcomers. But I think maybe the level 25 cap is a little bit low. Maybe put it up a few levels more. Because it just seems so low, level 25. You reach it pretty fast. But
Yeah, 25 is really low, especially with the new XP boosters.
Mm-hmm.
Though I haven't seen one in a while.
I got one.
I got one yesterday.
Yeah. For a minute there, I was like, are these just for the weekend?
Yes. No, I got just 1 hour. Well, about mentoring system, or a pupil, I guess, that would be much more simpler. And it was a bad mess behind, because first of the time, he couldn't become my mentoree, then I couldn't see him in my chat of mentors, and then, when he finally graduated, I needed to, I guess, graduate him myself after that. But before that, I could just spam messages in my mentoring chat, and it would be recalled to his lodge chat, so his lodge could see what I'm writing. But
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
see
I
what-
heard of that. Oh, it's amazing.
It's awesome. And by the way, this actually, it proves that the chat in the game is very basic. I would call it even primitive. For this mentoring system, I think need some kind of personal messages, maybe some other.
Personal messages and Corsair's Allegiance. I see the salt coming.
Well, or
Yeah.
just to be able to wait to send a message the way you can. Well, if you're a lodge master, you can send a message to your lodge, and then that shows up in the inbox, the same place where you get your messages from Everguild. So if you could do that for your mentees, and they could get a little pop up from you in their menu to see that little red notification, that might be a good way to specifically, like, if you got a message for them or for your mentees without them having to go into the chat. I do agree. I mean, I think there's a lot of little bugs to work out with it. I've got still just the same 2 trainees I've had. They're making progress slowly, but I mean, they're logging in every day, which is important. So that's good. We got one at level 19 right now. But I know there's a couple players I've talked to that, like, they just took to the game and they hit level 25 within 7 days. And that is really fast. And they didn't even get time to do all the achievements before they got graduated. So 30 would be good, and a little bit more like clarification on like how to graduate, because apparently, once somebody hits 25, you can just graduate them without them getting all the achievements. And then whereas if they're 25, I think they still have some time to try to play to get whatever achievements that they don't have left. So I don't know. I think it could use a little bit of work there just to kind of fine tune it, and obviously fix some of the bug issues too.
Well, as always, with AG, everything went into release where it's stable.
Yeah, EGB like that.
Yeah. Yep, that's how they are, but that's okay. They get to things eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
It took
That's a good word to pick.
It took them 3 years to get to the Space Wolves. We're not going to talk about the Space Wolves balance patch that just came out a couple days ago. We're going to save that for next week. So for those of you who are listening, tune in next week. We'll be devouring the Space Wolf patch updates at great length. Maybe talking about Ninth. I don't know if we're going to squeeze that in or not, but that was on the agenda, but that might get pushed back because we could talk about Wolves for a while. But we're not going to talk about Wolves today. We're going to be talking about the Defenders of Caliban, the Legion Left Behind, the Dark Angels on Caliban, who basically swore their oaths to Caliban and not to the Lion, not to the throne, not to the Emperor of Mankind. Some of them predate the founding of Lionel Johnson. Astelin was actually a first founding who fought under the Emperor. There's a lot of history there. There's a lot of lore, but the big thing with the Defenders of Caliban, there's 2 main things I think when you think Defenders of Caliban. You think Duplicitous and Jaegers. And they have that in abundance, and they make use of that.
Oh, they do.
In so many ways. When I say so many ways, I mean like 2 ways. But they have that in abundance. So that is really what their faction is known for. And they've got their pros and cons too. So we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not going to give them any fault. They like their Jaegers. They like their Duplicitous.
Yeah, and the Duplicitous, when it came out on release, was not great because it was lost the minute a unit acted. So those Jaegers were good for 1 ping, and that was it. And that was really, I think, the biggest fix for the Jaegers, or for the faction as a whole, was once they changed that, the Jaegers became worth including. They also added several other cards that created more Jaegers faster, so you could really get that board out there, so you could make use of those pings. So they just doubled down on Jaegers, and they probably are the most tokenist army. I would say more so than the Word Bearers, and more so than the Imperial Fists.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, that's most likely. They profit a lot from the ability to just flood the board with Jaegers, and then you can sacrifice them with a lot of things. Like the Rachnian, or Sergeant Zarion, or Astalan's ability.
Or even if you don't even want to sacrifice them. You can just have them chill.
Yeah, or you do that.
Yep.
You just put them somewhere in the forest, and they shoot everything which comes into it.
Hey, it works.
It works very well against certain warlords.
I wanted to see in the game, actually, a Legion who can support infantry, or was supported by infantry, in not that way it's sacrificed them all the time like Word Bearers doing it.
Yeah, I'm surprised Wordbearer is
And-
a legion known for their cultists. Only now really got cultists.
And not even that is very good.
Yeah, their cultist support cards are bad.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I get the
Let's
reason
be honest.
why, because they're not faction in there, but I mean, and the cultists can go with other things. But you would think that they would have maybe better like tagged, or like a couple of troops that like give your cultists +1/+1, or like not just sacrifice them and kill them, but like, hey, if you got cultists on the board, they gain something.
Yeah.
Oh, there is actually one troop who can do it right now. It's 6/7 Land Raider.
Oh,
yeah.
the
if I
Galaxy
recall.
Flames, right?
Yeah.
But then you got to play a
Resolution,
6/7 Land Raider, so
Yeah, that's a negative point of it.
and that's the only troop that buffs HP of your troop, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
No, there's another one, the 6/6 veterans.
Oh,
They
give
you,
yes, with the
Thing that
infantry.
they give your infantry
Yeah.
+1/+1 and frontline.
and then the rest of the infantry related troops are based around killing them. Which
Yes.
while that is thematically appropriate, most players don't want a board of dead troops.
Yeah, if you're killing your stuff, you want to kill it by throwing it at the opponent, not by playing your own cards.
Yeah, not
I
by
think-
sending them on a bonsai.
Yeah, I think the big exception, like the way that obviously the way that the Defenders of Caliban kind of recover from that, they've got a few cards that pump out a bunch of them at once, so you can quickly replenish. Or you've got like the 6/6 knight that just like keeps on creating for him. For every time you kill a troop, he just makes another Jaeger. So there's an endless supply of Jaegers. Or you've got really good board clear options like behind enemy lines. I'll wipe out my board and deal massive damage to your board. Yeah.
Yeah, behind enemy lines really turns those Jaegers into a threat.
Yeah. Yeah, because then they can ping
14 damage.
and then blow them up. Yeah, exactly.
And the mostly you play behind enemy lines after you play Caliban's hard, because it's incredibly hard to get rid of 5 Jaegers. You don't expect it because they have 1 HP, but it can be extremely tricky to get rid of them.
And you've got it, yeah. And the thing is, I would say, because I mean, you can, if you're playing Defenders of Caliban and you have a informant network or frag grenade or something that I need to save this for when he plays Defenders of Caliban, you're still going to take the 5 damage from when they play that card. But you also still have to respond to every Jaeger and Duplicitous troop that they put out there if you can, because the threat of cards like Strategic Mastery are very real. So it's really an interesting faction, because if they get going, it's hard to recover, because Duplicitous, they can just sit there if they want and build up and buff up, and then attack you with 4 3/3s or 4 5/5s, or they can pull out stuff at the end because you've wiped out their board and still do damage, and then maybe you've depleted your resources. That's not to say that they're unbeatable. I think some of their warlords are better than others. They definitely can be fragile.
Now with the reinforcements, the Defenders of Caliban took an indirect hit because many legions got more like flank options or AoE options. Like, for example, our old favorite legion to face in a fight, the Raven Guard, now is now a pure AoE faction, and you have such stuff like how's the Tactic 6E tactic called again, which
Shadow
just
Killers?
kills your board. Shadow Killers, and such stuff is extremely threatening to the defenders. It's hard to recover from that too.
Really, a strong breeze is threatening to the defenders with how low HP the Jaegers are.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Jaegers are replaceable, and that's a good thing about it.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, on release, there was no warlord who can support them, as far as I remember. There
wasn't.
No.
There was Luther, who was absolutely astonishingly bad at release, because he just got -3 attack to any unit. Who's gonna use it if you can't do anything else? And there's no Reckoning. Damn, his Reckoning is so good. But yeah, there was no support for the Jaegers in the face of a warlord, and then we got Astelin.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, our other choice was also going to support them.
Yeah, Galadon.
I want it.
My beloved Galadon.
Yeah, I kind of want Galadon too because he seemed neat.
Yeah, but it's most likely that he will be the 5th Defenders Warlord. It's either going to be Galadon or Marabas.
Oh yeah, but
But
Making Dream is Galadon.
I bet it's Galadon.
I hope it's Galadon too. I think Galadon and Astelin were both really good. I like both of their abilities, but I did want Astelin because I hate that guy. He's the Erebus of the Dark Angels. No joke. Like literally, to such an extent. If you haven't read The Angels of Darkness, it's a Warhammer 40k novel. It's a really old one, but it's written by Gav Thorpe. That's the first time that you see Astelin. And the fact that he then shows up in the Heresy, which he should. I mean, that's the whole point, right? He's a fallen. And then you learn a lot more about his backstory, but then you see it, actually him kind of positioning himself, and you just
Nice guy.
don't
Shooting
like
the lion out of the sky.
Yeah.
I have no idea how bad he is in the 40k. In 30k, he looks like a pretty chill guy.
He seemed pretty chill, right?
You got to remember, if it's
every
any
story about 30k traitor character, he was pretty chill guy before. Why would he do that?
Right.
Why would he betray? And then he turned into Erebus 2.0, 3.0, and etc. etc.
Yes, exactly. You're like, I don't know, Karn had some good ideas. Why was he such a bad guy? Oh, wow, he really went off the rails.
To be fair, Karn already kind of had weird things pointing out of his head. He didn't have a choice to be a cool guy.
No, he was on a path. But yeah, so I mean, as far as a character goes, like it made sense for me that Astelin was going to be added first, that we end up fighting in the event to choose to add him to the game. I was fine with that, but I would like to see Galadon. I think Galadon's got a cool ability, another Jaeger supporting ability. Beyond that, you had Zahariel, who doesn't do Jaegers. He does, Astartes recruits, which was cool.
Hard removal.
Yes, he's got that purple card, which wasn't the same ability, if I remember correctly. I think his ability before was just act again for 0.
It was act again, yes.
Yeah, so he could. So at 4 energy, you could use him to make 2 of those recruits, or you could attack twice or something like that. So they changed it around. They gave him that hard removal, that witch sight or whatever it's called, and that's pretty.
Terror sight,
terror sight, yeah. And that's I like playing him, but he doesn't do much with the Jaegers. He does more the other way around with the Duplicitous Astartes, getting those guys out early, hitting them, keeping them duplicitous, building up for the strategic mastery. Luther, almost non-existent. A -3 attack to a unit, but then that's just on your turn, so it's not even like you can't even use it defensively. And until they gave him his reckoning, it's not really a reckoning, it's arch betrayer, right? But I mean, it's the same kind.
To be fair, it's all the same.
Yeah, which then really put him in a spot where, like, okay, here we go, play Jaegers, get to his arch betrayer, and then make your opponent, regret playing anything on the board.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the people may look surprised now, but that's one of the big problems the Defenders of Caliban have. Their starters playstyle is not very viable. They only can, if they want to be competitive at like Terra or something like that, you have to play Jaeger spam, which I find very sad, actually, because it's the thing with the high cost Defenders of Caliban cards is they're not particularly bad. They just don't fit at all into the Legion.
No, don't they have like a 7/7 with no text?
Yeah, it's Dreadnought.
It's so
6 cost vehicle, 7/7. That's it.
It's
why are you there?
Yes, it's like, well, I guess thanks for the numbers, but why would you play that?
That's about it. Thanks for the numbers.
Yeah.
No text or not gonna play. Yeah.
It hurts.
So that's kind of the point. If we talk about Zahariel, he is not an Astaki focused warlord either.
No.
He just makes them. He doesn't. But I mean, the playstyle itself, like, you're gonna see generally the same cards, the same guys who are making Jaegers, the guys who are going to be making troops. You're going to see at least one strategic mastery. You're probably going to see a Kazdrak or a Drakian, because those grew great to support.
Or Ramiel.
Yeah.
Master Ramiel also most likely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's no mid to end tier Astartes who can play. There's, of course, 6-6 Praetor who can turn any dead troop into a Jaeger. And there's Etius. That's probably it. Oh, no. There's a 4-4 who can sacrifice an infantry to deal 5 damage randomly.
Yeah, but if you're playing Astartes, it's not great. Yeah, and you got the flanker.
And a flanker. And that's about it. That's the only Astartes we're gonna met.
Right. Yeah.
Aside from, of course, low-cost one, the 3-2 that brings a Jaeger with him, and, of course, Rickard. Very good with Zephyriel.
Yeah, I think the big thing with Zephyriel, the ideal play, I think, right, is use his ability, then use Exiled Veterans after that unit attacks to turn it into a Marner vet, a Magron vet.
Oh, yeah, those veterans. Yes, there too.
And then keep hitting. I mean, that's a good strategy, but it's also just working with one troop.
Yeah, that's not something that Caliban can do well.
No.
If there's only one troop on the table, you can't do stuff.
No, you kind of have to shoot yourself in the foot.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
there's a couple Jaegers. It's much better. Yeah, mix it up.
Yeah. Well, and then to go with that, it's 2 units or 3 units that your opponent has to find a way to deal with, as opposed to 1. A seek and destroy, boom, it's done. But now you've got 2 units. Do they have an artillery strike? Do they want to use it now? Do they have a flanker that can attack twice? I mean, that's great, but then you drop another 2 units. And then, so you broaden the board. If you put more targets out, it makes it harder for your opponent to respond to both of them. And then you get the survivability. You get more for what's on the table. And I think that's why the spam is so effective. Or, I mean, when it's effective, why it's effective. It's not against the top stuff right now, because especially with wolves in the mix, you don't want to be putting a lot of troops on the board. Give them flank, please. That's what they want. Give them flanking targets. Let that pack.
They really need to have flank. You got to give them the flank.
Yeah. If you're like, hey, I'm playing a Space Wolf, I know what I'll do. I'll put in play 3 troops that are 1 health and 1 attack. That surely they won't be able to get rid of these things and have a troop still alive after the fact. Oh, they did?
No. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, the Warlord's attack is 8 now? How did that? Oh, jeez.
Oh,
well,
Jesus.
We know how to counter that. With Cypher, of course.
Yeah,
Let's talk about
Cypher.
KFC?
In the meta, because at least to me, it's so fitting to him that if there's a natural card or legendary that he can abuse, he will abuse it to the limit.
I mean, I respect it. I gotta respect it.
Yeah. Someone didn't like Horn Cypher, but I, as a Modern player, I'll enjoy it as well. He just sees me in the distance. No, he's not winning this fight.
Right.
And he just concedes.
Yeah, I liked the fact that Cypher is the one that does things a little bit against the grain compared to the rest of the build, because lore-wise, he's kind of the Lord Cypher. He's in the darkness, he's in the shadows. He's got a plan. He's got a agenda that doesn't always line up with everybody's, but it's for the good of Caliban. It's funny though, because we've got Korn's favor, which is something that he did. He can still do, but he also was a desperate defense abuser. He can be a baleful assembly abuser. If you take a tactic that is dominant or has a powerful effect, he can, Asteroid Sanctuary and get the tactic and play that off fast if it's a high cost tactic. He doesn't have to rely on the troops at all. He can, and if he wants, I had a build way back before there was Desperate Defense and way back before the Baleful Assembly, which really just relied on Caliban's Heart, Drilling Sight, and Betrayal. And being able to hit those all in one turn. Too. Yes, it's like you come out with like 13 damage. It's a wombo combo thing that you gotta get to the late game. And I think that's probably his biggest area of weakness is you're getting all those tactics to set up whatever thing you want to do, but in the meantime, your opponent can just get ready for it or attack you or get their board set. And so that in that one regard, that's kind of his weak spot. But he is more flexible if you want to use a certain tactic or a certain concept. If you wanted to do a Pride of Caliban build with him with the Corn's Favor, Corn's Chosen, KFC, we just call it KFC.
KFC.
For me, it's Corn's favorite cheese, but you could do that. Or if you want to use something like a Forge Fane or Forge World, or if you really want to do memes and do the 5-drop, what is it? I'm just drawing a blank all of a sudden for the Imperial Army that makes an Imperial Army tactic.
Port Maw?
Port Maw. If you want to do like a Mimi Port Maw deck, or if you just want to have like all troops and a couple and just draw the Edict of Censure and have that in your hand. Like, that's a great ability, especially if you have less tactics. The less tactics you have in your deck, the more likely you are to get what you need. The downside is once you've gotten the 3 or 4 tactics in your deck, then he's got a dead ability. Yeah. I like him though. As far as a Warlord goes, I do agree. I think he's much more versatile.
Yeah, there's a problem with him. He's a good Warlord, but he's a bad Defenders of Caliban Warlord. If you understand
yes,
me.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, because they have some good tactics. They have some really good tactics, but they're really about troops.
Yeah.
And fishing for tactics doesn't really support troops. Well, depending, but still.
Well, I mean, you can
just drop troops, so there's that. But yeah,
he's just command bridge, but with HP.
Command bridge with HP.
On the plus side, when you have warlords like that, it does make deck construction a lot more enjoyable. That's the same thing like when you've got a warlord who can create a certain type of card, whether it's an Astartes or Knights or something, you find it's a lot more forgiving that you don't have to have those cards in your deck because you can go get it. I don't have to have Command Bridge because I can go get the tactic I want to get. That's one card out of your deck. But then also, you don't have to have card draws in your deck. You don't have to have Arbor Sliders. You don't have to have things that like, well, if I don't get this, like, why wouldn't you get it? You just use your ability and you get it. Amandara Kendall in the Sisters of Silence, she's a toolbox. Like, you just put what you want in there and she will be able to get it for you when you need it. It's pretty good to have warlords like that, but you are passing up on using them to do anything. If your opponent goes first and they throw down, Jubok turn 1 or turn 2, and you don't have anything to respond to it, you're going to be sad. Because you're like, well, do I let them keep getting my cards, or do I use my ability to play my game? And that's kind of the trade-off. That's the balance. That's the way the game goes.
Yeah.
Talking about Pride of Caliban build, there's, of course, Astalon, Machine Gun Astalon.
Mm-hmm.
Whopping out of damage in one turn if Praetor and another Jaeger just happens to be on the table.
30 damage, go brrr. I'm honest, I love Machine Gun Astalon. It's so funny. If it works, it's the thing.
He's so good, but sometimes I notice if I play Astalon, then I can't play any other Defenders of Caliban Warlord because the idea of 8 energy, use Unresistible Charisma to face bash into a Warlord, and they destroy this troop. It's so built in my head, then I just...
The best combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, best combo in the game. Why would you play anything else?
And then it does 3 damage, too, when you kill it. So it's like, yes.
Such a good thing to do, yeah.
It's
Everyone loves it.
It's quite funny. I think I had a match against the Lion once, where he had, like, I think it was an 1818 Knight Kenobi on the field, and he had, like, 20 HP left, and I just stole the Kenobi from him and punched him straight in the face and killed it. And he died.
You're like, please, make that stronger for me. Please do that.
Same thing with Night Lords. They can put up the Shrek on the field thinking, oh, I'm going to clear all those Jaegers, and he will be so fat, and then I'm going to smack it into your face. And then you just play anti-stealth, and then you play, again, Looter's Space. And that's the game.
That's the game.
If it works.
I mean, and that kind of leads us to their legendaries, right? Because you got Pride of Caliban. We talked about Irresistible Charisma, which is just, if it's not a finisher, it can very well be a key card at the very least. If we're not gonna classify it
if it's not a finisher, it means you're using it a weird ass way.
You have to, or you're in a bad spot, where you've got to steal one thing to kill the other. That's not great either.
Or even I've been desperate enough and I've grabbed their frontline structure and just held it a turn so I can actually lethal.
Yeah.
Or you grab a Death Shroud, and the enemy has, I don't know, something like an Imperial Reaper on the field, and you just bash it into the Reaper.
Yes.
He will never get rid of again of the Death Shroud.
Yep. You've got Master Romuel, who helps with support the troops.
Pretty good card.
Attias also helps support the troops for what he does, given -2 attack to all the enemies. He's a decent body. And then you've got the Alderac.
Alderac.
Yeah, the best one. Woo!
From the other side.
I like Alderac so much, but it's not so good.
No, I feel like the other.
I won't even say I like him.
No, I feel like all the legendaries, aside from Alderac, and Pride of Caliban, if you're doing Jaeger deck, like that's optional. Pride of Caliban is good if you're going that way with a lot of infantry. But Alderac is just sad. It makes me sad.
Alderac needs a buff.
It does.
Like, I don't know, a rally or buff the HP up a good portion.
I think the big thing that it has going for it, the only
the
thing
front line.
is the fact that it can't be Melgadored. That's the only thing it has going for it.
But then the biggest flaws it has is it's a high cost legendary structure, which those don't have a high record of being good.
With frontline, which is even worse in my opinion. In my opinion, Alderac shouldn't have frontline. I think it would be better without it.
I think frontline helps them a lot because there's a lot of cases where you want that frontline.
But at the same time, but you won't profit from the ability.
But at the same time, I think frontline is kind of needed. It's just still way too much. Because at that point in the game, he's probably just going to tactic you. So frontline or no frontline, you're going to get hit.
Well, Alderac needs a rally. That's what it needs to have. That would be actually at least playable. Because, again, coming back to World Bearers, they have a high-cost legendary.
With frontline.
Mm-hmm.
That has a rally.
Yeah, with frontline. It's a good body. It draws you more targets and makes them cheaper. Something like that would be great for Alderac. Because on the other side, there's no shield, there's nothing. It could be removed so easily, and it's gone. And you just wasted your whole turn. That's the problem of all heavy troops in general in this game.
Yeah, the defenders have a big problem with their heavy troops. They're not good. The only maybe viable heavy troop the defenders have are the knight commanders. If you can play them with a Cypher into the 4E tactic, which spawns 2 Astartes recruits, then you turn them into veterans. That's like the only play you can really do with a high cost troop.
That's the problem of First Heresy Legions in general, that high cost troops is not worth it most of the time if you don't have ward on them or stealth or something like that.
And even then, if they cost too much, like a 10 energy Maro Gaul, I love that guy. You can't play him. You've already lost if you're playing him.
You can't play him. You can. Just not from the hand. Not like that. Just place them on and refill. Natural 10 energy Chaos card that gets cheaper when Chaos Infantry dies. You can pull it out of there.
Yeah, that's my favorite way to play them because it's the only way to play them.
Yeah, that's the only way to play heavy troops is to get them cheap somehow.
Yes.
Without putting them in your deck,
like Subjugator Titan. You never see Subjugator Titan played at 10E. Not worth it at that point.
No.
What's a Subjugator Titan
the
again?
Emperor's Children 10-10 with Cleave 10.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing.
Emperor's Children playing on their energy. Come on. Especially with soul turrets. Why play something on turn 10 when you can play it on turn 6?
Now, they may be based around not playing it at the right energy, but if you ever try to play it at the right energy, you suffer.
Yeah.
Man. Well, that's just the way they are. They can't change.
That's just the way they are.
10 energy troops will be dead. 9 energy troops pushing it. 8 somewhat possible?
Well, not all 9 energy troops are bad. Like, we're going into the Space Wolves again a little bit, but the Space Wolves have the 8/8 ward frontline dreadnought thing. And I actually quite like that. I actually quite like that. That's like one of those rare occasions where a high-cost troop is actually good and can save you a game.
Because it has ward, again.
Because it has ward. It's a green card, and it's so much better than Alderuk in every fucking way. And not in the HP way.
I think if Alderuk had Survivor or Shield, a rally effect definitely would make it superior. Like, give it something where it puts in there, but the fact that it doesn't.
Backlash. Put in play for
you.
Put in play 4 night champions.
That could be interesting.
Interesting is the keyword.
That's just absolutely obliteration.
With Ward, Alderuk would be completely broken.
Yes.
Especially with Cypher. Cypher would find a way to make it absolutely broken.
If anyone's
that's what he does.
The 60 chaos tactic, which reduce cost by 4, then would be something would make Alderuk with Cypher absolutely broken. Because then it costs 5 and not 9.
Just jump 3 troops in your deck, and you're good to go.
Yes.
If it works.
So, I mean, with the warlords that we have, we've only got 4. We don't have the 5th warlord yet. What would you guys say is your favorite? Your ideal?
Favorite warlord? I really like that Luther now has a Reckoning. It was necessary. I can't believe they actually launched them without. I really like playing it. I still got to give it to Marire, because Marire Machine Gun is one of my favorite playstyles, simply because it's Exodia. It's Exodia, but it's very easy to see coming.
Yeah, there's a 6-6 on the board. You got to do something with that, especially if it's Astalon, who already have a Pride of Caliban.
Yeah,
danger.
I think
you're in the danger zone.
I think for a favorite warlord I'd probably go with number 1 is Cypher, and number 2 is Astalon, just because Cypher can do all the funny shenanigans with tactics and that shit. I'm right now working on a more status-focused deck with Cypher, and I just can draw for my asteroid belts and drilling sites and such stuff, which is quite fun.
Cypher can do some fun things.
Yeah.
As said, if he finds a tactic card that's broken, he will use that tactic card to great success.
Yes. I like all of them, but Astalon is my number 1. Even if it makes me stupid, I'm still gonna play him.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with Machine Gun Astalon.
I'd have to say, I mean, for me, I like Zahariel, but I have more fun playing Astalon because I feel like I think he plays with the cards the best. The thing I think we talked about Luther's Reckoning a little bit, but we really didn't talk about what that means. Like he's just throwing down cards to get to a spot, right? That's what he's trying to do. But he's not playing with the cards. He's just playing the cards to get to a point, and that's really all he's doing. Whereas I feel like Astalon, even Zahariel, they actually are playing with the cards. There's a point where they put them in there, not just to get your Reckoning, but hey, I'm doing this combo, or okay, I've got these troops out. How do I use the 4/4 to kills them to deal 5 damage? Then I'll sacrifice that to deal 3 damage. Luther's just I play Jaegers, I play Jaegers, I play Jaegers, I play Jaegers, and then I get to my Reckoning. That's all.
The true master of Caliban.
And even after he played his Reckoning, he still plays Jaegers.
Yeah. So I just feel I like the fact that they gave him the Archbetray. He needed something. He really did. His ability is good if you have a bunch of flankers, but it's not great. But he needed that. But I think just out the gate, lore-wise, as well as playing with the actual card pool, I think Astalon is my preferred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The irony, the favorite Caliban warlord is not even from Caliban, he's a Terran.
He's a Terran.
Terran number 1 again.
That just goes to show how good he really was. Good to hate. And they still have they gone into detail as far as what kind of crazy touch stuff he has because he worked with the Emperor? He is psi shielded. He's got some the Emperor did some crazy stuff with that First Legion where they got extra boosts.
Yeah, He might have some psi implants, because that's a casual thing in 40k that gets thrown around, where it's just put this in your head and now suddenly psychers can't touch you.
It wasn't like psi shielded. It was like it's in Angels of Caliban. I think that's the third book, where they're following the progression of the plot. This is slight spoilers. The progression of the plot on Caliban, what's going on there, and a returning librarian from the Lions fleet. I forget his name, but he's basically coming back to Caliban. He's like, hey, you guys stop sending reinforcements. What's the deal? Like, I mean, we got a war going on. We need some troops. And he meets up with Astalin, and he kind of like probes Astalin's mind and sees this like glowing white, like sun hot aura, which is very reminiscent to like the Astronomicon, like kind of like telling him to get away. And even Astalin doesn't know like what he's talking about. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, he's like, what's your power? Like, what? He's like, what do you mean? Like, I fought with the Emperor. That's my power. That's where I get it from. I guess I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that probe just told this librarian that this is a traitor.
Yeah,
they're a traitor now.
He's like,
get the hell out.
Get out.
So that's the planet. Yeah.
Get out. Run as fast as you can.
It doesn't work out for that guy. I'm just gonna tell you right
now.
A spoiler.
No, it doesn't.
Can't run from Astalin.
But yeah, those mental blockers can just be put in by psychers. It's casually mentioned in some 40k books. That's my favorite part of the lore. Is just this can be done. We're not going to elaborate further, and there's going to be scenarios where you're like, why don't they do this? But the reason why, the author forgot we could.
Well, you know what? It's all forgiving with the way the lore's set up. It's just like, you know what? They didn't know about that because it's buried in the archives.
They just forgot about it.
Those records were deleted.
Absolutely forgot. No way to regain it. Just make a new one.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of the prequels now. No, the records, they're incomplete.
Are we talking about Star Wars prequels? Is that what you're trying to talk about?
Yep. That's right. To bring us into Star Wars.
No Star Wars, right?
No.
Talking about the lore, by the way.
Which one?
I just read Fallen Angels. I was expected to read some interesting thing about Caliban, and I was forced to read something about Dark Angels.
Yes. But that was the second book, right? Or is that the first book?
I don't know, actually. It just starts that most of the Caliban forces go back to the Caliban. There was, after the Rush campaign, I guess, they were sent back. They somehow betrayed Luther. Well, betrayed Lion, because Luther kinda let Cyrus people bring an atomic bomb.
Now, I'm not saying they're in the wrong, but if I casually walked over to the storage hold of my ship and I saw a nuke being primed, I would have questions.
Well, I have only Fallen Angels, so I know something happened. But they were just sent back.
Yeah, here's my take on that. And this is slight spoilers, but I think those books have been out long enough. My thought for the longest time was that, because it was like, okay, this is just book one, which the whole book was like about the Knights of Caliban for the law, and then you get like one chapter of like, oh, they're Dark Angels now. But you've got Luther supposedly letting this happen or missing this thing that happened, and then Lion sending everybody away. But it didn't seem like it didn't seem like the other people who got sent away were sent away for the same reason. Like maybe Luther's was getting a little jealous, overshadowed. Maybe he slipped up. Maybe he didn't. But when Lion sent Zahariel, and he sent the other librarian, I forget his name.
He's Raphael.
Yeah. He sent these guys back, and I got the impression out the gate, it's like, well, that's kind of dubious. Like, what was his reason for that? Because like it didn't come across like he was angry. It didn't come across as if he was indifferent. I thought for a while there, was like maybe he put these guys. He realized that they were, because what they were fighting was like a psychic thing, a force of chaos. Sahariel had also fought, the monsters of Caliban, the beasts of Caliban. So my thought was, he's sending back the best people who can fight the anathemas of the warp, the chaos entities that is at the heart of Caliban. He's sending them back to Caliban to protect Caliban. And then book two,
that didn't win as well.
yeah, but book two kind of. And when I say book two, I think that was Angels of Darkness. Touched on that a little bit with, you saw the Lion Continuous Crusade, you saw then the Angels of on Caliban, the Dark Angels of Caliban, kind of doing that, but also gradually like feeling rejected, feeling like what else were we gonna do? Luther kind of like garnering this dark power, and then it looked like, if the Lion only told them what they were doing there, maybe they would understand, and then they ended up like just doing it out of...
I mean, I think he somehow did a little bit, didn't he? Say like, hey, I'm sending like a few of my best men. I think it was...
Yeah.
How much did he send? 500 Space Marines or something like that?
Yeah, but it was...
To Caliban, and was like, hey, you train our recruits now.
Yeah, but it wasn't taken very well, because the Lion is written to be this very...
It was really not.
He's just
Like
not good with
them
people
all,
skills. He can't relate to people, so he probably didn't say it the right way.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point about Fallen Angels book, where all those Dark Angel parts could be thrown away from except one part, where Nemiel looks at Lion and wonders, well, he can't read people at all. For a Lion, every one of us is just a mystery. There's clearly... Yeah, there was a moment when they just come to Damat, save them from initial horse attack, something like that.
Yeah.
And there was a governor, and he has no idea that this honorable man who fought till the end and thought he's gonna die on his planet is actually honorable, or gonna stab him in the back. And then Nemiel remembers that actually Luther did all the job. He was the guy who united the Caliban, and Lion was just the guy with the plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be the guy with the plan.
And we see how that ended. Half of the entire Legion just going full betrayal.
Now, my favorite part is not even half. He sends 500 back to the planet, and then the 500 multiply like fucking rabbit.
Yeah.
And I love that so much.
Well, that's connected to the fame of the Lion and Luther on Caliban, because like everyone began like, hey, I want to be a Space Marine, and then it just...
Hey kids, want to become a Space Marine?
Exploded. And...
Yeah.
By the way, in the book, it's written that Luther managed to make an Astartes process very efficient. It's like 98% successful.
Yeah.
They were literally, breeding like rabbits.
When I hear he made him really efficient, I like to imagine it's just an assembly line of children like sliding by, stab the gene seed into them, and see if they explode.
Well, that's what I got out of it. Like, it felt like there was just roadways and town squares and whatnot, like just marching Astartes, like just coming out of the factory. Like, I mean, with their armor on, like, all right, we did it. We're through the process. Let's go. Now, where are we going? Into the woods. Why? Because there's no room inside the castle anymore. Like, I mean, there's just so many of us. They were building
they were building a lot after the Luthor came back to Caliban. It's like all the forests
build that big castle.
Yeah, and then around it, and even more and more ecologies and that. So they were pumping them fast, but they were pumping buildings for this.
That's the real revolution on Caliban.
Well,
that's true revolution.
Because then that whole angle kind of got like, I don't want to say changed or twisted, but then like in the Angels of Caliban book, there's a kind of a flashback where Luther is off Caliban, meeting up with Horus and Typhon and the Lion's there, and the Lion rebukes him and tells him he was censored and he was ostracized, basically. So it was like, so it was a punishment, but was it just a punishment for him? Like, it just kind of helped set the mood. We're like, okay, clearly there is a riff or distrust or something between these two, and that gives Luther all the extra motivation that he needs at this point going forward. But you didn't know that in those first two books, and I feel like it would have been a better story, and maybe we could still see it. We could still see it in some books that, but like you find out at the end where Luther was like, "You guys were supposed to protect Caliban. What did you do?" But I think as it's been written the last several books, I mean, lately he knows it's not going. He knows that he's put people in timeout in their room, and he has to go back and talk to them at some point, and he doesn't really want to. He's putting it off as long as he possibly can.
That's the problem with Lion, because as they sitting on Caliban, they found out planet is tainted by chaos, and there's no way to clear this planet from it. So it's probably going to be glass. It's actually a very humorous part in the book where they send the Zahariel to check out what's wrong in some kind of a machinery building. They check it, and there's a taint of chaos, some kind of ritual. The Herald gets back, reports it, and Israel is like, "Holy shit, your planet is tainted. We didn't know that." And Luther is like, "What do you mean you didn't know that? You should have checked it." And Israel is like, "Well, when we bring back from the Terra, everything was clear. There was no beast, there was no taint. You cleared it all, everything was fine." So, kinda, the whole plan of Lion fucked up the Caliban itself.
Wow.
Well, to
And
be
they
fair, he
built
did
that-
send all the Psychers home pretty much, which were also the highest chance of fucking up with chaos. So
Yeah,
we don't really know. Lion, he's supposed to be one of the smartest Primarchs, but
he's
I don't really think
He's not.
I think tactician perhaps, but
great.
I still give that to Gilbert,
Gilbert.
and I don't like Gilbert. Gilliman,
Oh,
Rowboat Gilbert.
Gilliman Godfrey.
he's the best bureaucrat in the world, but he's not the best tactician.
Theoretical. Just
now I can't-
say it here.
I like how you went Columbo Gilbert Godfrey.
Gilbert
I don't like
Godfrey
that.
as an Astartes is a kind of a Columbo.
Oh, now I've got a theoretical. Here. Hang on.
I want to go.
theoretically, we could do that, but practically, we could do a different thing.
Dangerous. And then, ironically, yeah, we kind of need your theoreticals, PL.
I'm angry.
Yeah, if you look at the lore, Primarchs are not such a smart people if you look at it.
No, most of them aren't.
Yeah, Doom his whole planet by trying to do the right thing, and then he wanted to do the right thing again, and Doom did it again, and half of his legion.
I think that ties in great though with the thematics of especially the Horus Heresy, with it being demigods, basically the mythos, the tragic flaws. Every character's got them, and the great heroes of myth had their tragic flaws too. Some of them being just the fact it was just like, man, you got an ego, or if you only would have listened to what this prophecy told you at page 1, like when you were born, like. I mean, it always boils down to the simplest things, and so even they've got these immense powers, they've got this immense strength, the blessings of the Emperor, but that tragic flaw is so simple in some of them, where it just is like, yeah, that makes that whole myth theme carry over, and I think it does it really well for the most part. And it's hard to say. I would argue it's really hard to say who has the most tragic flaw or the most simplest, because I think they all do. I think every single one of them have something there where it's just like, man, if they didn't have that,
only Angron would not be in ambush.
Yeah,
he would be such a great Primarch. Yeah,
if Perturabo, wasn't so paranoid,
such an asshole. Yeah,
he just wanted a little bit of love, and he never gonna.
It's not even love. All Daddy E had to do was say, yes, a giant weird thing you see every time you look towards the middle of the galaxy is bad. Ignore it.
Don't talk to entities of the warp, goddammit. They're bad kids.
He said that.
No.
He said that to Magnus. Magnus was like, but, I mean, they're telling us things that we don't know.
You told me, yeah, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson of Horus Heresy, kids.
My favorite part is
I use that as a bedtime story to make sure that my daughter knows.
Don't fall to chaos.
Like, now let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you what happened when Kurz didn't listen to his dad, and it doesn't go so well. Now sleep tight.
I have witnessed it in my dreams.
Listen to your parents, or you'll become a serial killer.
Don't listen to your parents, and then some shady god gonna take you away, and your children's too.
I actually have a
good
law
life
question now.
Alright,
Okay.
fire away.
Do you think Luther, or whatever is left of his twisted mind, will become relevant, like really relevant in 40k again? Now with him
Yes.
being free again for Marabas.
The reason I'm saying yes is because we're practically on the edge of Lorgar's. Not Lorgar. He's also going to wake up. The lion's about to wake up.
That will be great.
Like any
Can't
minute
wait
now, the
for it.
lion's going to appear, and the minute he does, Luther's going to come running out of the wetworks, half naked and screaming.
Hell yeah.
Daddy.
I mean, part of me hopes that
I
they-
wouldn't take it any other way. Only like that. Both of them naked under the rock.
But there's
Screaming
two
at
ways
each
to
other.
go, I think.
Yeah.
Like Luther gets his shit together and somehow unites with the lion again, or Luther just travels through time and space and collects a massive army of fallen, and just absolutely is gonna fuck up what's left of the galaxy.
Well, Cypher traveled with Rebel Jillian, so Cypher can hop on in and say,
But
Luther,
that's
okay.
Cypher is not a reliable source for anything.
Well, we could get into
Well,
Cypher
we-
a little bit. Do you guys think Cypher is the most recent one, or is there another Cypher?
Well,
I
Cyrus,
want to say there's
I
other
don't know.
ciphers. Because, I mean, even in the heresy, we moved through 2 ciphers?
I think we have 2 currently, because the one
the faction has 2 ciphers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's.
we have Cypher.
I like
We are
the fact.
Legion of Fallen.
Yeah, I like the fact that the role is written kind of ubiquitous and kind of vague. You don't know who it's supposed to be, because that's the whole point. Even when they find they capture the one who was loyal to Terra and was trying to stop the uprising on Caliban, and they reveal him, it's they don't tell you who it is. They're just like, oh, it was you.
He's
That's
Cypher,
Cypher.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, he's like, I should have known, but you're like, who was it? Take him away.
Well,
What?
there was,
I
It's
should have
Cypher,
known my
isn't it
good
obvious?
friend.
before Caliban united with Terra, I think Master Remiel was Cypher.
I thought
Like
that was
in the old orders.
right, and that was
So-
a suspicion, and then it was transferred to somebody else who we don't know who it was.
Yeah, like some kind of a order of the Lupus Knights who knew about pain of Caliban, who could reliably, by the way, tell to Lion that something is wrong with the planet. We gotta check it with the native.
hmm
Maybe we should check it. But on the other way, if Terra would check out Caliban and found out that it's stained, what would it do?
Oh,
Exterminatus.
the Emperor wouldn't have let the planet, and I think
Yeah,
Lion
probably
knew that.
like was the planet, not was the castle.
And that's the whole
People
thing
of
with
it-
the secrets of the Dark Angels is then if Lion suspected that, he would want to keep it private from everybody and have his best guys just kind of keep it hush hush and deal with it.
So why didn't he tell Luther? That's the problem.
That is the
Because this is 40k, where logic is.
Lion, speak with
focus.
people, for fuck's sake. The
Just-
whole planet is a mistake.
exactly.
I don't care that you lived with animals most of your childhood. We all have our problems.
He's
Someone just missed a nuke on the ship. We all have our problems. We gotta work with them. That's the lesson of Horus Heresy. We should work at our problems, our dark sides, with other people too. Not just sit around, being best at what we can do.
and
We also should trust people to cover our worst side. Not just
No,
send
double
them
down,
away.
trust no one.
Or that, yeah. Be Cypher. Don't trust anyone. Keep all the secrets.
DTA, don't trust anyone.
Don't even trust yourself. You might betray yourself.
That's
Well, I will
Change-
never betray myself.
Happens.
I obviously can trust
Happens
myself.
to the best.
Happens to the best of us.
I've got psychic
The most-
shielding to prevent that from happening. It's
Yeah.
written on page 2, so
Oh shit! Page
Page
2
two
in
in
the
the-
third book of
yeah,
the
I didn't forget
100
about
series.
that. I wrote that in there, so it's like I'm protected.
By the way, talking about 40k, Duce, how did you even get in Warhammer 40k?
Well, that's connected to my sad story, connected to Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, I
because
didn't even knew
I
there
was-
was a Warhammer Fantasy.
After they murdered cut
Cold blood.
and whatever else, cold-bloodedly murdered and strangled and threw away the corpse of Warhammer Fantasy, I was like with a friend of me, hey, what else could we do? Hey, look, that's Warhammer, but it's with funny space dudes.
But that's with the guns.
Funny space
Yeah, and
dude.
my first, and I did like a full 180. In Fantasy, I was playing the noble, glorious, good high elves, and what did I play when I started with Warhammer 40k? Fucking Chaos Space Marines, because those are the coolest
Which
dudes
legion?
ever.
Come on. Is it
Chaos Space Marines are the coolest dudes ever. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
You had your own kind of warband, or you just choose someone else?
I got a starter box with him together, and there was like, how they're called again? The Crimson Slaughters.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
One of my favorite. I love everything to do with the 13th founding, because every chapter produced from the 13th founding is fucking stupid.
And fun.
Crimson Slaughters, get hunted by ghosts, kill shit, get hunted by more ghosts.
We got the Death Specters, which are weird as fuck and have some very questionable lore. We got the Exorcists, which are the Exorcists. And then we got the Crimson
Metal fellas, like, obviously Dorn successors. This is some Dorn level masochism. Just put a demon in yourself and see what's going on.
They are officially Imperial Fists. They are officially from the Imperial Fist, so it makes sense.
Yeah, officially. Totally from Dorn. Totally Dorn's Gen Seed. Nothing to look there.
Nothing to question.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. All right.
And after the Crimson, I actually switched in my Warhammer 40k career again, and I switched from the Crimson Slaughters to the Death Guard.
No.
That's
an interesting twist. Why?
Why? Because I was like, oh my god, cool. Those are dudes who look cool and can fucking survive an anti-tank weapon, anti-tank when it's rolling over them. I just like the durability of the Death Guard.
Was it actually a rule of cool, or you just thought it was meta? Huh?
No, I didn't really bother about anything like meta. I just was like, hey, cool, that looks cool. And then I got the starter box of those two with the Ultramarines and the Death Guard. And that was the beginning of my Death Guard career.
I think it was one of the last good starter boxes. There's been a couple.
Yeah.
That was the last good one.
I think we've covered on a couple episodes.
The
starter boxes are getting worse.
Yeah, we've talked about it, and I think we're going to see it continue. But talking about continuing, let's continue to talk about the Defenders of Caliban. So we talked about the Warlords. What would you guys say are your favorite 3 cards of the faction?
Now you're asking questions.
Yeah, it's like asking what's your favorite primers, but we all know that Sanguinius is number 1, so we just gonna assume after Sanguinius. And when you're asking what's our favorite card, we're of course gonna go after Irresistible Charisma, because
I gotta put Charisma. I think we're all agreeing that Charisma is number 1.
I can't resist.
I don't know about you, Scott.
I can't.
It's irresistible.
It's irresistible. It's irresistible.
Now.
Look at those eyes. Look at those
Yeah.
eyes.
Look at those beautiful eyes.
He speaks.
Then I personally gonna go with probably 2 tactics that cost 2, puts in play 2 Jaegers.
Mhm.
Simple and good. It's just good. Good. It's good. Use it. Use more of it. And then Caliban's card. That's my 3 goals.
When we now look away from Irresistible Charisma, we take it out right now. So I'm gonna name 3 other ones. And then I would probably go with on the one behind enemy lines, because big damage go brrr. Then I would go with the Champions of the Order. Because
that's unexpected, to be honest. I never seen anyone using it.
Oh, I actually like them. I only have 1 copy, so whenever they're in the shop again, I'm gonna grab the second one. But I quite like them, especially when the meta is like face bash, aggro, because they just can lock away the enemy warlord for a turn. I like them a lot.
Bad reason to use them.
Yeah.
And on the third place, I probably go with Sergeant Zarion.
Yeah, he's a good too.
I also premiumed him up.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually have quite a few premium Caliban cards. Because, I don't know, I don't even have the gems to do that, I just did it because fun.
Sometimes, I mean, you just gotta do it because of fun.
Yeah, I have premiumed up Mastodon and Sahariel, Uprising, Zarion, Mastery, Alaios.
I'm gonna get through the Warlords and premium them all at some point, but not all in one go. Like, I'm working on it.
No way. There's no way I'm wasting my precious gem.
Oh, I'm
not your precious
Such a useless waste
like
of my precious time earning them just to see some more fancy cards. I think they're way too fancy for me, for my taste.
I love them. Yeah, you gotta hoard them like a dragon, Seth. If a single gold coin is missing, you gotta go on a rampage.
I'm laying on them with my deck slots and my gems in the belly of a volcano. And I'm guarding it, my one eye open, just kind of scanning for anybody who might be trying to invisible, my horde, my tail.
Watch out for little hobbit.
Yes, exactly.
It's a waste of good gems.
I've been laying on them for so long that the slots are embedded in my skin, and the gems are part of me now.
That reminds me of a creature I got planned for the campaign, or it's a dragon, but his scales are coins.
Nice.
Yeah, if I gotta put it for my top 3. I'm really okay. I want to put Local Uprising up there, but I'm not going to because that's just good off paper. But
I've already taken. Okay,
two little Jaeger. I'll give it to Caliban Knight for my first one. It's a nice 3/3 flanker, and even if I don't gotta flank something, I'm getting Jaeger out of it. That's like 4/4 value. Not really, but you get
that's good truth. Great truth.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Pride of Caliban up there because I need it from the murder machine gun. And when we get Galadan in the game, it essentially turns him into a old Argyle Tall. So that's neat. I gotta think what my last one is. I kind of want to give it the Heart of Caliban, or Caliban's Heart, sorry. Because just getting a board of ping troops can be all you need to turn the tide. Especially if you mix it with any of the buff cards they got, like Strategic Mastery, Behind Enemy Lines, not a buff card, but it is a nuke. And what's the troop that can buff? Is it Wardens?
The one which buffs Astartes and infantry are the Wardens of Alderuk, and the one which only buffs Astartes are the Inner Circle Terminators.
Yeah, the Wardens are pretty good. You could drop Wardens one turn, and if he somehow miraculously sticks, and you can use Caliban's Heart, you can have some fun there.
You know he won't stick.
No, but a man can dream, can he?
It's a good card for a draft, though. I mean, that's yeah. If they stick on a draft, your board is just gonna get snowbally.
Or if you get it from Alderuk's ability, it's also pretty cool.
Yeah,
but otherwise,
because it's behind a front line, so then it really gets going. This
is why I can't wait for a campaign with DOC, because we also have the reduced cost of an ability by 1 for Mirror.
Oh my god.
Oh god!
Oh my god!
While everyone thinks about this hellish thing I brought upon us, Scuff, what's your favorite card?
For me, my favorite 3. I'm gonna go. I think Caliban's Knight is nice. I like Caliban Knight. Just as a good card, and if you can't deal with it, it's gonna give me stuff in general. But I like Brand of Fire. I really like the rally, deal 3 damage if you target guys against flank, and it's a 7/5.
He's a good.
It's
basically a Barangi veteran with the ready ability.
Yeah. And if you can even use it just late game to win the game by dealing 3 damage to the enemy warlord. It's pretty nice.
Sometimes it's all you need.
And then I'm gonna say Betrayal. I like Betrayal. I like hidden out of burst with like some crazy damage. That's a lot. And you could hit 2 of those if you build your deck right. You can go Betrayal, and you're dropping 2 + 6, 2 + 6. That's 16 damage for 6 energy. Yeah. I mean, you got to have the right board to get to that state, but it's nice when you play it. It's a good surprise. So those are my 3. If we're not talking about Irresistible Charisma, because we can't resist.
It's got to be at the top.
We can't. You can't resist.
Look into his eyes. I gotta betray my Primarch.
Those are eyes I would always betray a Primarch for.
Exactly.
If there's worth something betraying the whole Imperium for, it's Luthor.
Listen.
Not some weird Chaos Gods. Come on, guys.
Those eyes.
We already got a god among men, and that's Luthor.
Those eyes made a lot of Space Marines.
Yeah.
He did. He made an unbelievably high amount of Space Marines.
There's also those. I like that the Defenders of Caliban are, in my opinion, pretty close to their whole lore, like design and points of design with the monarchism-like structure. You have like the levies or peasants, which are the Jaegers. Then you have the Space Marines, which are like the nobility of the knights. And then you have like the warlords, which are the kings. I actually quite like this design feature.
Yeah, they
did come with a bunch of nobility-related cards too. They got like corrupted nobility.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, they've got a good representation of their lore, and I think you're thinking, oh, they would just be like Dark Angels, but they're not, because they're tied to the knightly order, and they work with their recruits and with the training and the Jaeger. So like, I think they did a really good job, and the whole Duplicitous mechanic ties it together, because that one word is really, well, like, what side are they on? Whose side are they? I don't know. And then you find out when they start pinging you.
You find out that it was their side all along.
It's amazing. They were on their board.
We, as a
They
player,
were always on
know
Caliban
where the
side.
hell they are.
I thought you were playing.
The problem
ships
is
that
our
were-
warlord does not have this information.
Yes.
Unfortunately, somehow.
They couldn't figure it out. They're like, why you guys got guns right now? What's going on?
Why do you have guns? Why are you pointing these guns at my face?
Yeah.
It's
hang on.
like
Why
this
can I
5
hit you?
level of
Why can I shoot
blissful
you? I can shoot
unawareness.
anyone else in my team or in enemy team, but not you.
like the Raven Guard walking back to the word bearers, and the word bearers pointing guns at him. Hey guys, what's going on? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly. Like they're over our shoulders is where they're no. Well, when you're not playing Legions, what is it you guys do? We'll start with you, Duce.
When I'm not playing Legions, I'm reading a lot, and playing a lot of strategy games, like, for example, Hearts of Irons 4 or Crusader Kings.
Those are good.
And I actually like to go out and like do some photographs of the nature too.
Nice.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Ignat?
Well, aside from regular things like eating food and talking to your friends, tabletop games, not like Warhammer tabletop, role-playing games one.
Role-playing games are always fun.
Well, I got my nickname from actually FFG Black Crusade game, where there was my character who was named Ignatus because I was too lazy to come up with another name. I thought this game would be short, and turns out it's not. It goes for 3 years already. And I can't wait to end it
Random
finally.
generated
So,
names.
my
Campaigns will do that.
character suffered long enough.
Whenever you think a campaign's going to be a nice short adventure, it's going to go on way too long.
Yeah, did not expect it to happen.
Even as the GM, when I'm like, we should be able to finish this tonight. Nope.
Yeah, I thought my session yesterday, the party would be able to run into like their big boss encounter, but instead they tried to assassinate a king and then a cult leader in a row, and it was bad. It was bad.
Freedom, yeah. That's why I called, by the way, that's why the Railslayer is the name, because in one moment my character decided it's a great idea to hit a monorail with his chain axe when it was working, and he was just struck by a lot of ton of electricity, and went down, and the whole encounter was balanced atop of this character kinda doing all the melee, and he was out in the beginning. And we need to start all over again. Since then, he's the Railslayer, and that's how I got my nickname for this game. Well, other hobbies is a little bit of hunting. That's a long tradition in my family. I guess my grandfather was the original hunter in the family, then my father and my uncle. And then I am trying to get in, but I'm kinda too lazy to walk in the woods after 2 years of working on my foot alone. But I hope I'll get in this April. I'll go with them on a hunting trip, and maybe it will be successful.
Where do you guys
Or
hunt?
maybe not.
Where do you guys hunt?
Oh, usually birds. Dog.
Anything you can find.
Anything we got a license for.
A true Caliban.
Yeah,
a true
anything
member of
anything
Caliban.
Well,
Kill
it's not that
everything you
dangerous.
see, which comes close to wildlife.
The most dangerous thing we can encounter is probably, well, a fox that got rabies or something like that.
On most lists, the top of that tends to be like a bear.
Well,
At least around here.
no, actually, god damn it, I forgot the name of the animal to describe it to. It's a signature animal of Canada, but I'm not from Canada.
The goose? No, the moose?
No! Moose, yeah, right, moose.
Oh,
Yeah,
moose are
that's-
terrifying. If you see a moose in the woods, run.
Yeah,
Don't let it see you
yeah.
running, because then it's going to
My
chase.
father was telling me a story when he was with his grandfather on a hunting trip. There was a moose with his lady, and he thought he was brave enough to walk just close to them. And he really
That
really
sounds not like it
fast-
ended well.
Yeah, they don't like to be interrupted. They got their ladies. He learned
Moose
it the
are a
easy way.
constant threat.
Yeah. Moose is a danger, yeah. Foxes with the rabies, and maybe hogs. Wild hogs are really tough bastards from what I heard. Never met one myself. They're kind of a rare sight nowadays. Well, nowadays they're a rare sight because all the fields turned into the woods. So it's a real Caliban experience for me nowadays.
It happens. I live in the middle of nowhere, so I still run into my fair share of deers and bears.
Yeah,
Eating-
that's tough. Living alongside bears.
Yeah, but they're black bears, so if you just hit them with a stick, they leave.
Well, you still need to hit a bear with a stick. That sounds
No, it
horrifying
may
to
sound
me.
like a bad idea, but black bears are just big dumb dogs, and you can quote me on that one.
Okay.
I'm
How
not
would I
legally
describe-
responsible for anything that happens.
Sounds like
What if
a
it-
story a Texan would tell, like, hey, I pushed a cow.
No, Texans got grizzly bears. They got a reason to fear.
Just hit him with a stick, boy.
Let's say them with a stick, nothing will go wrong. Ever.
They're just big dumb dogs. You can trust me on that.
Just put your hand in his mouth. It's fine.
But just put your entire head. It got to be safe.
Come on now. He's just a bear.
So-
He's
Folks at
just
home, for legal reasons, I cannot recommend you do this.
He's-
But if you do it, record it.
But don't do it. But if you do it, please record it.
Well, how
Well,
about you,
they're
Axel? What you up
actually-
to?
What do I do? Well, I've been running that campaign still. Like I said, one of our party members gaslit a king into open war and then assassinated him. And then another saw
Goddamn
a cult leader
genius.
doing cult things who so happened to be a mayor of a town and shot him with a crossbow out of spite. So the party's on the run by like 8 different forces.
Yes.
Why they can't be normal people? Like in my party, I'm just a stab things and melee man in the world of spaceships, and I'm still the most capable of just simple talking with people.
Well, the biggest reason is because this is 5e. Our paladin likes to hit things first and ask questions later. Our rogue likes to do the exact same, and our warlock isn't fast enough to stop them. So it's how it goes.
Sounds like
Great.
you got some
What you
murder
want because
hobos
a
on your
pirate
hands.
is free.
You'd think they're murder hobos, but they tend to only kill the evil. But the problem is, in the world where 100% of people are evil, they're really just cutting through town.
They just murder hobos.
It's like,
Yeah.
we're gonna go
Yeah.
shopping.
In the
What
world where
happened?
everyone is evil,
We killed-
you're a murder hobo.
We
You're
killed
killing evil
everybody at
people.
the shop. We're gonna go to the
Nah.
end. What happened? Everybody at the end's dead. Don't ask.
Then this reminds me now. I don't know if you played Assassin's Creed, but in Assassin's Creed, I like to do it that I just gather a huge force of the enemy on a place and just slaughter through them. It's the exits campaign.
Those are good
Sounds
fighting
exactly
games for
like that.
Those are good fighting games for that. But yeah, no, my party isn't the brightest. Love them to death, but I think they're all very stupid. That's the
Typical
life
game
of being a
master.
DM. Any of the DMs would know that's how you feel about your players. Scuff,
And often,
you have the
and I
same.
hate them.
Oh yes.
You have the same group. You love them to death, but you know they're all stupid.
I just every time I'm just like, it's just a door, guys. There's literally no reason to spend 30 minutes contemplating what we do here. We just go in the
Yeah.
door.
my party don't trust me for encounters anymore because I've done a couple things where you kill the guy and then a creature bursts out of him. So now at the point they're like, okay, everyone surround him, prepare oils and stuff before we stab this normal-looking guy. And as a guy, I'm like, what do you... Please, I have a life.
Why?
And they're like, okay, we gotta stab him.
I just don't really care what people will throw at me. I'm playing a character. I don't care. Like,
some folks
can
even
be,
die with it. Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna die. Well, it's by the way, yeah, my character died like 2 or 3 times already. I don't care. I can throw him anywhere, and
being a character in a game is the most fun anyway. So you have like a D&D game where just where Wolf's playing a rogue.
I know. I haven't been able to play in 5 years, but I know.
Yeah, I was playing a rogue, and I was like on a mission where my character could have died, and I have incredibly high stealth stat on that rogue character, so it just threw the key. How do you call it? The thing which has numbers on it.
The dice?
The dice, and it just threw the dice, and it just rolled 20 on stealth, and
that's always a good feeling.
That's always a good feeling. Your character just walks through everything without being noticed.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
I mean, as a DM,
sorry,
I was gonna say, as a DM, I had the best feeling last night, where I had an almost total party wipe. We had only one guy left. They're fighting a creature from I forgot what book it's from. I think it was Mordheim's Tones.
What is the creature? Just describe it.
It's called the Hungry. Basically, every time someone were to heal, it gained advantage on its attacks and an extra 4d10 necrotic damage. So it ripped through the party, and only one guy was left standing with like 5 HP, and he barely killed it with an Eldritch Blast.
Axel, I'm gonna tell you. Your party fits your playstyle very well.
My party loves to suffer.
Their murder hobos. After that,
my party is ready to be murder hobos because I told them they're in a world where everything wanted to kill them, and I can't blame them for what they do.
So, you would not be a DM forever if you did one simple trick I did once. I tried to that's what fine. Yeah, I almost made it, and when there was just it was a simple war, just like I think throw away some stats like HP and on the party awards everywhere in the already pre-made places, and I'm doing it, and I'm like, I'm not having fun. I'm not gonna be a DM anymore, and I'm telling this to party, and they're like, why the hell we wasted our times doing our characters? You can't do it like that, and I'm like, I can. I wasted my time doing this whole model, and I can't throw it away, and so you can throw away your character. And that's it. And dodge the bullet.
Are we still talking about Defenders?
Nah. Well, we're at the closing bits. The closing bits we close down. Yeah, it usually goes off topic.
We can ramble a little bit, but we can talk about plugs. I mean, if there's anything you guys got to plug.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to plug?
Yeah, sure. I want to plug my boy Railslayer. He has a small YouTube channel. He does a bunch of Fourth Character Legion playthroughs with a fancy deck or with bugs when he cancels them, and they're silly. Like when there was a bot that for some reason shot himself and not the enemy with a DG troop, I guess.
Oh, I saw some great bot plays, like Harsh Discipline being played on a troop with only 1 HP. Like, bots they're amazing.
Yeah,
they really are.
Things we do with this bot is the reason they will rise against us.
You can't try to comprehend bot logic. It won't work. You're
going to lose your mind in the process.
That's right.
Another shout out I must do it. Shout out to my boy, Mr. Midnight. I know he doesn't like when I call him my boy, but it's not gonna stop me.
Okay. Out of spite is always the best version to do anything. Okay.
Oh, actually, I absolutely forgot to tell you the story how I got into Warhammer.
Did you? I think you mentioned
how'd you get into it?
I told you the story how I got in, Fourth Character Legions, but I was familiar
with you're right.
Warhammer for a long time since then.
And plugs will also be story time.
Yeah, so it's a story time. I guess I couldn't tell it. Anyway, it was back in the day to buy CD discs, and they were like, one game you could buy, and there's like 3 to install the game. And we were in Moscow in outer state bus station, and near there was a kiosk you can buy.
Hello?
Okay, you can buy one game. And I was looking at the store, and there was a guy with a chainsaw in his hand, screaming, and behind them there's a battlefield. And I was thinking, that looks like an epic game to play.
It sounds like the cover of Dawn of War.
Exactly. I get it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Scuff, we need a tally for Dawn of War got me into 40k, because at this point I feel like it's half the guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great entry point, right?
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect.
I hate strategy games. It was an awful entry point for me. I don't like playing them. But I played that.
It was so good to me, because I got to... Like, it's a good RTS for people who don't really like RTSs, in my opinion.
Oh,
yeah.
I played it, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I never knew it's actually a part of some kind of a big, giant TV production. I thought it's a weird strategy game, the space reason. And then I was playing that, and I found a manual for video games on the CD file, and I was reading. And for every gun there was a lore, how to create it. For elders, for Space Marines, how Space Marines are made, and their successor of some great god emperor. That and thinking, that's a hell of a lore to put in a manual no one's gonna read.
Yeah.
Why waste your time with a strategy game like that?
It's just the way 40k is. If the lore isn't obsessive, it's not doing it right.
Well, I never knew it's a big universe. I thought it's just a waste of time to put all the lore in the manual.
Now look where you are.
Yeah, look where I am.
Now you're in the Warp Channel podcast, the best podcast ever.
Yeah.
And my
now
favorite
unplugged Dawn of War
section in 40k actually is Imperial Guard. Still love them. Simple people fighting the horrors of this universe just with a flashlight and the commissariat behind their back.
Man, I love the Imperial Guard.
They added Imperial Guard in the next installment. I enjoyed it very much. And that's why I like.
Yeah, Winter Assault. Winter Assault's really good.
I liked it. It was a good expansion. I still say Dark Crusade's the best, but I mean that was the third
easily.
one, so
yeah. And then Soulstorm, you only play for the skirmish mode, nothing else.
Yeah, but I mean it just is a great factor. I think that speaks to how good it was that so many people we've talked to have gotten into 40k because of it.
Oh yeah.
You know, it hit that PC gaming crowd, and at the same time got you set up on the lore or the idea like, well, maybe I'll look into this, and then you pick up a book, maybe you pick up a box model, maybe you install Legions because you're like, oh, this is Warhammer 2. Okay, let me take a look. Like it's just such a great gateway, in a good way.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but Games Workshop have a weird relationship with game developers.
Yeah.
Because it's like ups and downs.
Yeah, it's really high ups and really low down.
Really high down. Yeah,
and then there's the in betweens, which are worse in my opinion, because you can't really laugh at how bad it is, but you can't really appreciate how good it is.
Oh yeah, that's why I do about Force Heresy Legions. It's a good card game. I'm not a big fan of card games either. First shooter man. And I found myself enjoying this game very much, especially War Leaders, because I can pick Angron and not think at all, just hit the face. And I like it. I like the option of not thinking in a card game.
So this is a story of I found this game of a genre I don't like, and I'm going to play it.
Exactly, yeah. And
I respect it.
And somehow, all this time later, you're hooked in, you're stuck in.
Well,
Very nice.
I was out.
It's a rabbit hole.
It's an addiction, I believe, is what you're looking for.
When Knights were on release, it was not a fun game to play as a Night Lord.
No, that's for sure. Yeah.
No, Knights hurt a lot of players. Like a lot of players started during Knights and just didn't come back.
Yeah, I dropped it, and I come back only when they were nerfed. But I didn't get back into Ladder. I'm still a practice Goblin and event Goblin.
Ladder can be a lot of pain and suffering and eternal torture.
I say everyone should play where they want to play.
Yeah.
Sometimes
we somehow took the off-topic category back into the on-topic category. Which
God.
Category, but we also did the same for on-topic and to off-topic. I'm amazed. Plug.
We're switching everywhere.
What are we plugging today, gentlemen? You guys would do yours first, Ignat or Duque. I'm calling you.
But I don't even know what it is.
Plug is in like a shout out to a YouTuber or something like that. Like your stuff, where to find you if you want to do that. Something you want to shout. Like shout out just means to promote something.
Okay, then I want to give a shout out to two people. The first one is our beautiful and beloved pirate Lahai. We all know him. We all love him.
Friendly hood alcoholic Quebecois man.
Exactly. And the other one is, like Ignatus, Mr. Midnight.
That's right.
He's a very cool guy. And there's something I kind of promised him. I promised him to talk in some way about anime breasts, so I need to do that too now.
Now, you could, or, now bear with me, we just leave it at that.
Yeah, I addressed the topic. That's about right. I addressed the topic.
All right.
You don't get more Midnight.
All right. That just happened, apparently. Man, that's that. I guess I'm going to do my shout-outs. I'll do the normal one, where I shout out my boy Doran Stash. He does art. That's Drew Lee Clark on Instagram. He does profile pictures. He does commissions. He did Scuff's profile. He did my profile. My two profiles. He's a good artist.
By the way.
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
And
my favorite whiskey man.
Yeah, and also, I'm going to have to shout out Palace Cats. I think Palace Cats are amazing. If you don't know what a Palace Cat is, Google a Palace Cat. They're adorable.
Man.
Look at them.
Obsessed with the weirdest thing.
Look at the Palace Cat.
And freaking your own player base in the table.
For the people at home, a Palace Cat is like a bobcat, but very squished and fluffy, and it is adorable. All right.
Cats are always adorable.
Angry. Listen, I just want to pet one. All right. That's us. Scuff, do you got anything to plug?
Standard plugs for me. It's deck slot time. It's deck slot time hard, folks. We got these new warlords keep rolling in, and we have got slots to not. We need slots, not squats. That's my new slogan. No,
I love it.
Not squats. Yeah. Not hyped for
deck slots for
deck slots. Every
warlord
needs a home, and that's where we need to get. So I'm going to plug that first. And then we've got the deck list competition going on for April. I got to get that post out to post the winners for the March deck list contest. But the theme for April is My First Legions deck. And as we talked about last episode, it's kind of a vague theme, but the idea is, show me your first warlord, the first deck that really took you somewhere, got you hooked more into the game, as well as what cards were you using that you thought were really good. And maybe time has proven that they're not, or maybe you still use them because they're just worked for you. So
that's something.
It should be an interesting theme. So we've got that going on. Deadlines for that are April 25th. Prizing for first place is 1,000 gold. Second place is 500 gold. Third place is 300 gold. It's an easy way to win gold. I don't yet have the dates for the April Bar Night Legions or the April Steam stream. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to keep figuring out, take a look at my calendar, see what I've got working out there. But those will be coming up. That's really it for me. That's all I've got for plugs. Play for the White Scars to win this event. Don't let Lord of Flies.
I want Jangsai.
No,
I want Jangsai.
Nor Lord of Flies, guys.
Give us the
Play for Chaos. We gotta get Lord of Flies.
We already got Chaos Spawn, which is just better Lord of Flies.
Lord of Flies needs to lose for the third time. We need to shut him out once and
for all. Lord of.
I never once thought I would be able to say.
Of maintenance back, and then
I never thought I'd have to say the words Chaos Spawn is better Lord of Flies. But now I can and mean it.
That's very funny and very sad at the same time.
So I don't mind actually if White Scars is their warlord. He's not as OP as he was before.
Right.
So I don't mind.
Yeah.
Maybe even he should get his thing when he got one energy back on the streak. Maybe. I'm not sure.
It's dangerous. I'd be fine if his ability cost one energy. Or he did something else with them, because after you have 2 or 3 of them, it's kind of just using them to hit face, which isn't bad, but that feels kind of generic. So I don't know, but I liked it when he worked with Streak. I really did, but it was a little bit crazy
Scout, listen to yourself. We're
Listen,
talking about Defenders of Caliban, and you're telling everyone that it would be a great.
Yeah, this is a warlord that just kind of hard counters Defenders of Caliban.
Yeah, he pays 2 energy. He's like, well, I guess I'll be able to answer anything you drop. Good game, sir.
Yeah.
Good game.
Yeah.
Cash and Vaughn does that too.
For
I mean, there are just some warlords who are able to do that. Shabrandar is able to pretty much answer them early on, so you got to have those sometimes.
You do?
Yeah, irony.
And then there are warlords who absolutely die against Defenders.
Yeah.
Abaddon versus Defenders of Calaban is
He's just
one of my favorite matchups.
He's a sad Badon, that's what he is. He gets mad Badon and sad Badon.
Oh no! Oh god!
The dad jokes are coming in.
Folks,
He's kind of weak.
I think we've gone on long enough, folks.
I
think we're starting.
Yeah, when we start making the Abaddon puns, it's time to call it a night. But I appreciate you guys for being available. I know we're on different clocks out there, but we made it work. Thank you guys for taking the time out to talk about the Defenders and everything else.
I have always time to talk about the Defenders. Call me in the middle of the night. I'm ready.
That's a promise that you've now made. I hope you realize.
Axel's going to do that at Axcalion.
Oh, I don't mind being here.
I said you can call me. I didn't say that I answer.
He makes a valid point. He makes a valid point. All right.
Well, I was glad to be here too. If you need someone for night talk, I'll be there too. Not in the middle of the night, so no, I'll prefer sleeping.
Everyone prefers sleeping.
Yeah, sleep is good.
It is indeed.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and have a good night. Bye.
Bye, folks.
You do.
Bye.
A magnificent ending.
This has been another episode of the Warp Chatter Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Shh. It's over. Don't fight it.